As part of its commitment to repositioning Nigeria's oil and gas industry as a pivot of economic growth and sustainability, PSRG-Richardson hosted the 14th edition of the Health, Safety, Security and Environment Forum, which discussed the theme, the Nigerian oil and gas industry, setting a new agenda. It brought together stakeholders in the oil and gas, energy, policy, environmental management and financial services industry, amongst others. In his opening remarks, the MD/CEO of Richardson Oil and Gas Company Limited, Mr. Akin Osuntoki, highlighted the goals of the forum.
13 years ago, when it all started in this same facility, many thought it was going to be a dash, but thank God the journey has continued and it has become an endless marathon. All glory be to God. Permit me to share what our goals are. One, we will establish this platform. We will use this platform as a feedback for the regulatory authorities. Some of the past events, we have had to send our communique to various regulatory bodies, and some of them are part of this event. We also would like to use this event to scan the industry. What is happening in the upstream, what's happening in the downstream, and this, of course, will go towards interpreting the frameworks that have been established in the industry. We have had product launches here. Why? Because of the mixed and rich audience that we have. Of course, during the networking session, you will get to see quite a lot of networking, deal making going on in this event. The only issue is that Richardson has never received 10% of some of the transactions that are conducted on this platform. And anyway, that's why we are here. Create opportunities, create values. We will continue to look at what I'll call industry issues, critical industry issues, and make them the subject of our discussion here. Since 2009, we've looked at issues of HSE practice and management. We've looked at issues of human capital development, local content development. We've looked at issues of mental health management. We've looked at emergency anti-system management. We've looked at global warming as an issue. Indeed, we have scanned the industry all over the years.
The event featured goodwill messages commending the summit and making a case for transparency, accountability, and the right policy mix for the industry. Delivering the keynote address, Engineer Tony Attah, the former CEO of the Nigerian Liquefied Natural Gas, said that there are key steps for the nation to take to reposition its oil and gas industry, which include declaring a national emergency on crude oil theft with a holistic approach to addressing the menace, providing an enabling fiscal environment that can attract investment into the industry, and the operationalization of the Petroleum Industry Act.
Operationalizing the PIA and being able to sort out the now near cancerous issues of crude oil theft and its attendant impact on the industry, environment, and indeed the nation's economy will form the key pillar of whatever new agenda will be developed in order to have a fighting chance of regaining our position as industry leader and a force to reckon with in Africa. The industry in Nigeria continues to be plagued by massive and industrial scale crude theft, which is now becoming endemic and on the brink of completely getting out of hand if extraordinary steps are not taken to stem this ugly situation. It is estimated that a sizable amount of crude oil, depending who you speak to, have seen 100,000 to 400,000 barrels a day allegedly stolen every day. The future of Nigeria's oil and gas industry will not be complete without ensuring that we support the consolidation of the independent and indigenous players, as I've just referenced, because it is quite instructive to note that the indigenous producers have grown tremendously over the last decades to account for about 30% of national production today, from what was just about 2% in 2010, with capital and development investment of over 20 billion within the same time frame. And I think they actually do deserve a big round of applause. You will agree with me that the role of the indigenous players has got to be another critical element of this new agenda we are talking about. But against the backdrop of the foregoing, permit me to put some stakes in the ground in respect of what should be the main building blocks of this new agenda for Nigeria's oil and gas industry going forward. The opportunities offered by the approval of the PIA, which is designed to deliver, as it's written, first page, effectiveness, efficiency, accountability, competitiveness, and safety, which tells me that even the government is taking cognizance of the importance of safety, and that is why it's written into the PIA. But these are very immense and serious that the act itself is ready. But it's not about the act. It's about how we conscientiously and diligently apply the act itself as the new foundational basis for the reset of the oil and gas industry, which we all want as an enabler for Nigeria and indeed for Africa. This act, I believe, should inspire the unbundling of the full industry value chain, thereby creating an improved enabling environment for Nigeria to become the investment destination of choice one more time, and perhaps our last chance indeed. But while we're at it, it is heartwarming to see NNPC Limited emerge as a key product of the PIA, repositioning it as a commercial entity under the KAMA regime, consistent with the realities of other private entities in the industry. This can only serve to increase the much-needed transparency to boost investor confidence in the overall governance of the oil and gas industry in Nigeria. Another critical component of the new agenda linking to the PIA must be the focus on energy transition, the fast-changing energy mix, and the new global direction with respect to energy systems changing completely. Even though the ongoing geopolitical situation in Ukraine seems to have slowed down the initial momentum of this transition, this is seen in some quarters as just a temporary but necessary desperate measure to focus on the survival of Europe, which needs to manage its over-dependence on Russia while working to create new avenues to guarantee security of supply to wean itself from Russian oil and gas. And that is why that desperation is showing in reopening of soft coal mines and indeed tripling the cost of energy overall. But there is, however, another school of thought which suggests that energy transition will switch to overdrive mode once the dark cloud over Europe as a result of this Russian issue lifts, thus making the EU policymakers to accelerate energy transition, and we must take cognizance of that in terms of where we are. Hence, we need to brace to respond to an even steeper trajectory in the energy transition journey, but note the tempered refinements, including accepting gas as the credible transition fuel as against the blanket castigation of all fossil fuels as dirty and harmful to the planet. This may also catalyze the acceleration of further state-backed investments in renewables, which holistically could accelerate the pace of transition. But either way, gas remains a credible partner to renewables and hydrogen as the transition fuel of choice. Having said a bit about gas, let me touch on gas as a key component of this agenda. The new thinking of gas as a global transition fuel has got to be a second opportunity for Nigeria to reposition and take advantage of the new demand and supply gaps to deploy our gas reserves as the catalyst for development and industrialization while taking center stage as a leading gas nation supplying most of Africa, Europe, and the rest of the world.
The two-day event featured sessions covering health, safety, environment operations, and risk security and safety. Mr. Akin Osuntoki, the MD CEO Richardson Oil and Gas, and Mr. Chukwuemeka Osuji, Director Oil and Gas Olanihun Ajayi LP, speak further on the role of the 14th PSRG-Richardson HSSE Forum in setting an agenda for the industry.
We thought that it was high time government started to chart a path forward. In an environment where so much happens within a particular time, it is important that we begin to point in a direction of where we want to go. Remember also that we have the issues of the refinery, thank God, the Dangote refinery. All of these need to be digested in a manner that we can begin to chart a path forward. And that is what we have done. What we have done is to discuss extensively, having practitioners around, and we all agree that there is a way to chart a path forward so that investors in and out will know the direction of government, so that as a nation we know what our issues are and we know how to move them forward. That's essentially what we've done in the last 2 days, and it's gone pretty well.
I think it's a fantastic opportunity, it's a fantastic platform. And speaking personally, I think I might say that I'm privileged, and even my firm, Olanihun Ajayi, being a partner in Olanihun Ajayi, we are privileged to have been provided an opportunity to contribute to the ongoing discussions. For it is around discussions. And it's important that these conversations are ongoing. We need to keep having these conversations. The people that are vested in, not just in the country, but in this sector, need to keep on having these conversations around what are the key challenges. Are our voices being heard? Are the right people listening to the cries? Are there solutions being developed? Are the solutions being crafted, implemented? And that's one key thing that came out from this forum. Various solutions have been crafted, but are they being implemented? Sadly not. So we need to keep up this tempo and even up the ante. We need to keep up the pressure so that government, regulators, and all other stakeholders need to know, even individuals, corporate organizations, and operators in the sector, everyone has a role to play. And the only way to keep this, keep people sensitized as to their role in terms of this entire process is to keep having channels such as this. So this is a fantastic platform. Thanks to the organizers and all who made it possible. And we look forward to having even more of this.
A major takeaway from the conference is the need for the political will and consensus to deal with the menace of the crude oil theft and a real resolve to leverage the opportunity of having enormous oil and gas resources to strategically reposition itself for the industrialization and economic transformation. This will address poverty and create more jobs and businesses for the teeming population.